I was coming home from my best friend Emma's house. Emma and I are childhood friends. Even though she forced me to stay back, I decided to head home. She lived in the house above the hill. It was just 7:30 p.m. and I thought, I will take the bus from the nearby bus stop. I reached the bus stop and saw a guy already sitting there. The guy looked a bit odd to me. He had a hard face with long, messy hair, which made him look like a homeless person. He wore a gray sweatshirt with black jeans that were torn out at many places. Being a 5'3" girl, I already knew I don't appear as intimidating to strangers. But anyway, I maintained a distance from him and stood there with a serious face. Emma called me in between, asking if I have gotten the bus or not. I talked to her for a while, just to feel less uncomfortable with this guy's presence. I could see in my peripheral vision that this guy was looking at me after every 5 to 10 seconds. Then he took out his phone and got busy in texting. After ending up the call with Emma, I looked at my phone. It was 7:45 p.m. Also, there was only 10% battery left on my phone. I felt like an idiot for not charging it at Emma's house. I stared at the long, empty highway, but there was no sign of the bus. I was already disturbed for being alone with this strange guy. Just then, he stood up from his seat and came towards me. I didn't pay any attention and started to scroll down my phone just to avoid him. The guy came close to me and said in a husky voice, "Hey, do you have a lighter?" Without looking at his face, I replied in an irritated voice, "I don't smoke." The tone of my voice was clear enough to make the guy understand that I am really not liking him near me. The guy didn't say anything, just standing there facing towards me. I got really annoyed at this time and looked at him. "Dude, I told you, I don't have a lighter. Now fuck off." His eyes were lifeless still. He gave me a very creepy smile and started to walk back without turning around. As he steps back, facing at me, he said, "You girls like to pretend that you hate attention, but that is exactly what all you bitches live for." I got really pissed off at him and shouted at the top of my voice, "Listen, you jerk, if you don't leave this place right now, I will call the cops. My friend's house is nearby and her father has a gun, too. Also, she already knows I am standing here to head home. All I have to do is scream loudly once and you will be in great danger." He wasn't expecting such a reaction from me, so his face turned a bit pale. While we were having this episode, I noticed a private car coming towards us. The car came near the bus stop and stood directly in front of us. There was an old woman driving the car. She looked at me and said, "Do you want me to drop you, dear? I live down the hill." I thanked God for sending this lady to my rescue, and without wasting a single second, I got into her car. Needless to say, this guy walked away from the bus stop with an expressionless face. But when the car drove away, I saw him smirking at me from the rear view mirror. I couldn't believe his audacity, but somehow I calmed myself down. I quickly turned towards the lady and thanked her from the bottom of my heart. The lady looked at me and gave me a big smile. She then asked me what I was doing there with that guy. I told her I didn't know that guy and that he was bothering me in a very offensive manner. The lady then said, "Women these days need to be more careful. You never know when you step into a trap." I thanked her again for saving me from a really bad situation. All she did was kept smiling. We were driving on the highway and there were very few cars, but still, she was driving slowly. I thought maybe she was being cautious about driving alone at night. Also, the way she pulled brakes signified she is not used to driving much. But after a terrible time with a creepy stranger, I could hardly complain, so I just kept quiet and waited to get over with this night by reaching home. The lady told me that she is going to visit her nephew who lives down the hill. She will stop by the house for a second to inform them and will drop me home safely. I was very happy with her kind behavior. I joined in small talks with her just to pass the time. After 20 minutes of the ride, she stopped at a gas station to get gas. The gas station was empty, so I knew it won't take long. She got out of the car with her purse and told me to wait inside and went to pay for the gas. I decided to call my parents just to inform them why it's taking so long, but just then I realized my phone's battery had died. The lady forgot her phone on the dashboard, so I thought to make a call using it. I thought she wouldn't mind if I called my parents, and I will also explain to her once she comes back. I took her phone and swiped the screen. The phone wasn't password protected, so I got lucky. I don't know how to explain horror, but I literally felt what horror can be right then and there. As I swiped the screen, the phone wallpaper flashed in front of my eyes. The wallpaper of the phone was a photo of the lady with a tall, bearded, long-haired guy. Yes, it was that same creepy guy from that bus stop. My stomach dropped. I was completely out of my mind. I didn't expect to face something like this, but I realized that the guy on the bus stop and this lady are somehow connected. She is trying to lure me to a dreadful, life-threatening trap. I immediately got out of the car, taking her phone with me, and started to run. I didn't stop. I didn't look back. I just ran. I ran for my life. I was sobbing in fear and scared like hell. I dialed my dad's number while running like a maniac. Fortunately, he was getting home from work. I couldn't explain everything perfectly, but somehow managed to explain that I am in grave danger and I need his help. He told me that he's coming to pick me up and told me to stay on the highway. But I didn't stop still. I was extremely scared, thinking that that woman might follow me, so I kept running straight ahead. My dad picked me up from the highway. As soon as I got home, I hugged my mom and started to cry like a baby. I told them everything about the guy at the bus stop and this lady. My dad praised my presence of mind for taking her phone with me. I handed her phone to my dad, and he reported this entire incident to 911 right that moment. The next morning, the cops came to our house and asked me a bunch of questions. I explained the entire matter in great detail because I wanted them to catch this sinister duo before they end up framing any other innocent person. After 2 days of search and with the help of her phone, the cops collected a lot of information and finally managed to arrest these two evil people. They discovered that the lady was the mother of this creepy guy. They were professional kidnappers who often trapped young women from highways. What made them more devilish than other criminals are their sinister way of luring victims into their trap. The guy used to spot young, lonely girls on highways and make them fearful of his offensive behavior, just like he did to me. He would also let the mother know if the plan was going well through text messages. And then, the mother will take this opportunity by offering a ride to these already freaked out girls. Any girl will say yes to her just to get rid of this guy. This way, she would kidnap that girl during the ride with some excuse, and both of them used to ask for ransom by making threatening calls to the victim's relatives. They are going on with this scam for at least 1 year. But due to their cunningness and the unique criminal mind, no cop could ever catch them. Also, no one could testify how they looked as they murdered their victim after receiving the money, or not receiving it either. So far, they have killed 3 young girls in 3 different cities of California, and I was supposed to be their 4th victim if things didn't take a different turn for me. I still wonder what could have happened if she didn't stop at the gas station and I didn't think of calling my parents from her phone. It's been 3 months now. I have bought a car for myself with my own savings. I drive my own car everywhere I go, and if it gets really late, I choose to stay at my friend's place to avoid being alone on the highway at night. I will never forget what that lady told me that night, that women these days need to be more careful. You never know when you step into a trap.